up. Hey, man, dang, that cat bit me. That's mean, Gus. Why'd you bite your dad? Well, welcome back to Epic Cars, and yes, I am alive. Over the last 6 months, I've had some pretty major things happen in my life, and took a little bit of a reprieve from YouTube and doing videos. I think my last video that I posted was sometime back in December, and it was my Ford Raptor in the snow. We were just doing some donuts. Well, right after that, right after the holidays, I went on a trip to New Mexico to go skiing with my youngest daughter. Had a great time. Was having a really good time up until about the last day I was there, the last day skiing. On a run, coming down, kind of racing my daughter. She was in front. I'd let her get in front of me, and I was trying to kind of catch up to her, going pretty quick, and had a pretty bad accident. I had torn my ACL completely in two. My MCL had ripped off the bone and took a chunk of bone with it, and my meniscus was also torn on my left leg. So I was really not doing well for most of the month of January. The other thing that kind of exacerbated that was the fact that my surgery wasn't until the end of January. So I had to actually wait about 3 weeks after the injury to actually go in for my surgery. And so as you could probably imagine, getting around was pretty rough. All I had was a leg immobilizer. I really couldn't do hardly anything. My wife and daughters took great care of me. Luckily, I don't have a day job, so I was able to just stay home and rest for 2 or 3 weeks. Got really sick with the flu also during that time, and so it was just kind of this 1-2 punch that just knocked me out. And then finally, at the end of January, I went in and got my surgery done. And then obviously the month of February and March, most of March, I was just concentrating on physical therapy, trying to get back, trying to be able to do things again. There was a while there that I hadn't come into my shop in 2 or 3 months. I mean, it's just, I was on crutches. I couldn't do anything, whatsoever. Well, then, as everybody knows, as the world knows, COVID broke out, starting in kind of February-ish, and then March is when it really got bad. Well, a friend of mine is the director of a state agency here in Oklahoma, and he was tasked with putting together some ideas and solutions to COVID-19 for the state of Oklahoma. And so he hired me on a temporary basis as their COVID-19 response coordinator or director. And so essentially, I spent the latter part of March, April, and May literally just immersed into Corona and COVID-19 and how to handle situations and how to do something that no one has ever done before across the world as far as a pandemic is concerned, and how to deal with it. It's never really come to America like it did with COVID. So I spent 2.5, 3 months working for the state agency, just trying to help and trying to get through COVID and back to normal. When I originally signed up for the program, or he called me and asked me if I would be a participant, and I said, yeah, of course. I mean, I'll do anything I can to help Oklahoma and to help a friend of mine out, because obviously it affected me too, being in the state and my family, and I wanted to do everything I could to try to prevent anybody getting sick. And so jumped on, and thankfully, I said early on, hey, this is just a short-term thing. I don't want to work for the state government for any much more longer than I have to. Or actually just don't even want a day job any more longer than I have to. And so he agreed to that. Great friend of mine. And so as soon as things started getting kind of better into mid-May, the state started opening up. Things started to be progressively getting better. Obviously, I came back and said, hey, I'm going to be leaving sometime in mid-June. Let us get kind of through. Let me kind of tidy everything up. Handle any special projects that I need to till then, and then I'll go from there. So today is my birthday. Now, I'm not posting this on my birthday. It'll be coming out later this week, but today is my birthday. Last week was my final day as a full-timer state employee, and I'm excited to get back to life again. Really kind of how I started this channel. I knew I had retired in August of last year, so I'm coming up on a year now that I've been retired. And my entire goal was to do basically three things. First and foremost, I was going to concentrate on my family and concentrate on starting a new business, a real estate investing business. So that was kind of the first thing I was looking at. Secondly, I was going to get back into my hobby, but more deeper into my hobby. Obviously, when you're working, you're not able to just immerse yourself into your hobbies and get things done. A lot of my videos, going back and looking over the years, I would be able to start a project, but I was in such a rush. I had to get it done that day, and a lot of times I didn't finish it. A lot of times I'd leave you guys hanging because there would be stuff that I say I was going to do, and then I just never got around to doing it. Well, that's life. I mean, that's just the way it goes for most people. And so I was really excited in the fact that I was going to be able to retire and concentrate on these projects and get things done. And for a while there I did, but then starting the business and things like that kind of got in the way. Well, the business is up and running. I do real estate investing, I flip homes, I do rental properties, things like that. And so that's really been a lot of fun. I've been having a good time doing that. And so I continue to do that and will continue to do that for the coming future. And then, of course, getting back into the hobby is what I wanted to do. But the third thing, obviously, was that I wanted to concentrate on was YouTube and making sure that you as viewers got, I guess, a fulfillment out of the fact that when I start a project, I'm actually going to finish it. I'll give you a walk around in a second, but basically what I've got going on is several projects, and some of them you're probably going to be pretty sad about, especially if you've been following some of my more popular videos. Okay, so I'm walking into my shop now, and as you can tell, it is ridiculous. I'm met with a wall of just stuff that I've been just having to pile in here. There's my E38. It's actually going up for sale on a website this week. My 55, my poor 55, look at it. It's got bugs all over it. It's just been neglected. And then my other 55 wagon up there, got the Model T, got my M6 over there, I got a new motorcycle. So I bought this TW200. I've always wanted a TW200 ever since I was like 16. I mean, these came out a long time ago, back in the mid 80s. This is really what's been going on, is I've been trying to get back to life, and COVID, obviously postponed that, and my surgery obviously postponed that. My E38 is actually going on Doug DeMuro's Cars and Bids website very soon. I would say probably this week. I've already been approved, and it is going on, and I'm excited about getting it on his site. Excited for him. It's kind of a big move. He's a great car vlogger, and having another avenue to buy and sell cars is great. It's very bring a trailer-ish, but it's specializing in cars from like I think the 80s and up, rather than getting into anything older than that. So I think it's a great avenue for us as car flippers, and probably, as you can see, caraholics that just buy stuff and should finish projects before they get into other things. But at least it's an avenue for me to sell something like this. This is a very kind of a unusual E38. It's a 2000 750 IL with the Highline package. It's been very well cared for. My family, some member of my family, have owned it for the last 6 years or so. Man, it's a beautiful car, great running car. It pains me to sell it, but it's got to go. So, Cars and Bids, it's going away. There's my favorite, my little friend that I've had over the last 6 months. He saved my life several times. This is Ranger Walker, and I've named him and had a little bit of fun with Ranger here. He has helped me over the last few months as I was recovering from surgery, continue to flip homes and do car projects and things like that. So he's still hanging out here. One of the last projects that I attempted, I'm just really now getting back to being mobile without a brace and being able to lift things and so forth. And so had a full exhaust system brought in for this 55 wagon, and I got to the point where I was able to take off the exhaust system. I was having to do this with Walker over there and one crutch. I was able to get everything off a few months ago or a few weeks ago, but now it's back to putting it all back together. Well, got this system. I can't remember where I got this, but it looks like a really nice system. It's a 2.5 inch exhaust. It's got the H pipe. I've got the mufflers. I've got everything there. I've had some time to kind of look around this car, and there's been, as I've mentioned maybe in previous videos, there's been some improvements, new brake lines, new shocks, new brakes, new wheel cylinders. You know, it's got a new starter on it, new alternator. It's got a brand new drive shaft. So it's had some work done to it. Now the outside of it is not good at all. As you guys have seen, this rocker right here is completely rotted. I mean, check this out right there. It's just completely rotted all the way through. Good thing is that the seller had a bunch of these parts and he included it in the sale. And then since then, I've found a hood. I found 2 fenders. They're actually up in the car themselves in the back of the station wagon. So got a lot to do there. Now, the other project I was working on, and here's some video of me and a couple of friends working on the Model T. Finally got the Model T running consistently. Can't keep it running, but got it running consistently from a standpoint that I can start it, get it running. And my goal is to have this running and driving in the next week. And then I'm going to paint it, and it goes away too. It'll actually go on to somebody else past that, mainly because I just cannot fit in it. There's just no reason to keep a car when I can't even fit in the driver's seat. But I've never driven I've never driven a Model T before. Driven Model A's, but I've never driven a Model T. The other day when we got it started, I attempted to drive it kind of out on the apron of my shop and rolled about 10 feet. So I guess I could technically say I've driven a Model T, but I really want to drive it. So I'm gonna get this up and running. Some good friends of mine will help me come get that done, and we're gonna have some fun with it. And of course my M6 over here is getting all dusty, and it's ridiculous, and I'm neglecting her, and I need to get her out and drive. And so again, that's why that one's going away and that one's going away, is to where I have at least a shop now that I don't have to spend 5 hours moving cars around to actually do something. My goal is to have this car always available, and I'm going to start probably daily driving this one. And of course the 55, it is just one of those cars that's just exquisite. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's completely perfect, and it's got AC, and I love it, and you know, it's high dollar and all that stuff. But that's the problem with it, is it's scary to drive it. And I've said this before on some of my previous videos, but you know, I got to thinking about all this and said, you know, life's short. Have fun, enjoy it. So now the 55 and me are going to start driving around all over the place. It's a reliable car. It's great. And so between the BMW and the 55, I'm going to do my best to be in a classic car most of the time. Of course, the Raptor comes in handy, but I'm going to try not to drive it as much as possible and try to get into those as much as I can. So, all right, let's go out here, because this is where the sadness starts. Hummer, I don't even know where to start with a Hummer. I've taken this to several mechanics. No one can tell me what's wrong with it. I've listened to you guys on the comments. I've tried all the things that you guys have told me to try. Now, I can get it to start, I can get it to drive, but the rod knock is still there. But I swear to you that it's not a rod. I mean, it's on the top end of the engine. So I'm to the point now where I'm going to replace the head on this thing. Let's just see what happens. So that's going to be one of my projects this summer, is replacing the head. If that still doesn't fix it, I'm going to do one of 3 things. And you guys have told me to do a lot of things to it. In fact, probably one of you has probably said, dude, quit talking about it if you're never going to do anything with it. So I'm to the point of, like I said, I'm going to fix things. Probably should just throw it off the edge of a cliff. But it's a great truck. It's in great condition. We just got to figure out this engine issue. So I'm going to do either A, replace it with an original engine and just get on down the road. B, I'm kind of leaning towards putting a 5.9 Cummins, or maybe one of the smaller Cummins, the 4-cylinder Cummins in this. Or C, and a lot more expensive, is go ahead and putting the V8 in this and turning it into an Alpha, an H3 Alpha. So going back and forth, probably we'll stick to number 1, which is just put a regular engine back in it and get on down the road. Because remember, this is for my daughter. I don't need it to be some high horsepower thing. This is going to be her first car when she turns 16. I don't know. We'll have some fun with that. And then probably the most depressing thing of them all, Old Bones. Look at Old Bones. Old Bones has been over here in the car graveyard for about the last 2 months. I was driving Old Bones. I mean, look at all that grass growing up underneath it. I was driving Old Bones about 2 months ago, pulling a trailer, and all of a sudden it felt like I blew a rod. I had white smoke just billowing out of the front of my engine. I thought it was on fire. I'm going 65 miles an hour down the highway when this happens. Finally get it pulled over to the side. Oil is just pouring out of the bottom. What I think has happened, and guys, I know this is how crazy things have been lately with work and everything. I haven't even had a chance to really climb underneath this and figure out what's going on in the last probably 4 or 5 weeks. It's just been sitting in this one place. I think what happened, and remember I talked about this in the in some of my previous videos about how to make sure that the 6.5 engine is reliable and all that good stuff. One of the things I think what happened was on the oil lines, they have these little C-clips. I think that's what's happened. I can't verify that yet. I'm going to. And I just pray and hope that I didn't blow the engine. I think I got it shut down in time. I think we're okay, but Old Bones has been very neglected over the last 2 months, and I apologize for that. So we'll get Old Bones back up. Hey, man, dang, that cat bit me. That's mean, Gus. Why'd you bite your dad? So we'll get Old Bones back up and running and go from there. Now, another project that I told you guys earlier about, I went ahead and decided I am keeping the Excursion, and I've got the Excursion over here in my lean-to. It has become my construction vehicle ever since Old Bones crapped out on me. I've moved all my tools and everything over to it. Remember, it's a 2005 limited 6.0 diesel. I'm going to bulletproof it, and when I say bulletproof it, I'm going to start the process of bulletproofing it. Hey, don't bite me again, cat. And so I'm going to do the EGR delete and the head studs and things like that. So that's going to be coming up, and then I've got some really cool stuff fixing to happen on the Excursion. I got some surprises that will be happening over the next month. As soon as parts come in, I've got some stuff happening. So I'm really excited to get back to life. COVID interrupted that, and of course my my surgery interrupted that, but I'm back now. I don't have, I'm probably 40% on my knee. I'm still not there because obviously when COVID broke out, my physical therapy and all that stuff stopped. So I need to get back to physical therapy and things like that. Obviously COVID shut me down because PT just stopped as soon as COVID happened, and I've started doing some physical therapy in the last few weeks. I'm probably back to about 40%, 50% on my knee. Whew, there you go. You're shedding your hair all over me. Don't bite me again, cat. My goal is to publish a video at least every other Friday. That's my goal at the moment. Also, I have another channel I'm going to be starting up in the next few weeks. It's called Petrol and Pride. And so you can go out and check out Petrol and Pride Facebook at Petrol and Pride. It is basically going to be a channel that's a little bit more storytelling from a standpoint of Epic Cars is going to be reserved for kind of how-tos and fun stuff associated with the car hobby. Petrol and Pride is going to be a little bit more of a storytelling video vlog or video series, and so those will probably come out about every 3 weeks or so because I need more time to edit and kind of put the story together and that kind of stuff. But it's really going to be more of a storytelling type venue that allows for a little deeper information about cars, about how cars and really the gas engine in general revolutionized the world and is still continuing to do so today. And then you get into just all the stuff that the electric vehicles are doing. I mean, it's just that's just the next wave. Guys, I'm back. I don't know if you missed me, probably didn't, but I'm back. New stuff's coming out soon, and go and subscribe to Petrol and Pride on YouTube. That's I believe it's just at Petrol and Pride. I don't think I have any subscribers so far, so if you can, go over there and check that out, and you'll see new videos coming up on that. So guys, thanks a lot. God bless you. We made it through COVID. We still got a little bit to go here. I see numbers ticking back up, things like that. So hopefully we can get this under control. Thank you for sticking by me while I've been out on my my absence for the last 6 months. I'm not quite back 100% yet, but I'll get there, and we're gonna have some fun on Epic Cars. So thank you guys. Take care.